Yes.
I'm hard of hearing. I don't know if you know that.
Yes.
So. This is turned on. That means I can hear you better. So if you would kindly put it on. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, but it's not just me. So the thing to do might be to leave it up here.
Maybe you're right. I just have to remember it's up there.
Wait, yes.
Because it
Okay.
costs $300.
Got it. Okay. All right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. Nancy, help Vered remember to get this after the service. If you both are thinking of it, one of you will, right?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I can't promise how well it will work, but it's worth a try.
I can drink better, so I know it's working.
Good. But okay, the challenge is that there's sometimes some loud thuds, bumps. Like, is that going to be uncomfortable? Okay, great. Because actually one of those is coming up now because I have to scroll the Torah. So. You get the deep bass rumble of Torah on, and the staccato. Okay. All right. Everything's special. Anashim. Oh, there. Yes. Any moment now. Mhm.
No. Just.
L'autre et hanerot. Elmo pnei menorah. Yairu shivat hanerot. The what? Right, so far it's not, can't promise. But, yes. Mhm. Shivat hanerot. Okay. I wouldn't assume because it's such a high elevation, actually. Right. That's fair. Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate, I don't even know what the lowest lowlands of.
Right. I'm just gonna Google.
But, okay, go for it. Lovely thought. Yeah. Right. Oh, how about that? Right. Thank you. Learn something daily. Good to know. And of course, that would be Oh, yeah. Cool.
Very nice.
Awesome.
So should I do 2 or 3 songs?
3 is fine. We're
I
really,
actually wrote down 4 just in case.
that's great. We are very flexible
I need to
today.
learn the songs. I am not song fluent. It is one of my.
Mm.
We'll talk about that. Please.
Well, let's,
Okay.
right.
So I was gonna, with your permission, do this and then just chant that.
Yeah.
real quick, if that's
No,
okay. And then
really.
you're gonna do different to Shahar.
There's no with my permission, like.
Well,
just-
always, if
just
you want.
do it. No,
This, that's the. Songs. I have a question mark on Nishmat. Can I go ahead and do it?
Oh, yeah, do it.
Okay. Yeah. Did I write down the song somewhere?
If you know what you're doing.
I
then
haven't
no need.
carefully.
Love it. Very well. Is the last. Okay. Awesome. Everyone and make a an extra copy of this?
Yeah, of course. There's two copies.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I have one in this one. Beautiful.
Thank
You asked
you.
me to.
I know, but I didn't,
What is it?
I made no assumption since. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, bless you. Great, all right. And I've got one too, but it's not nearly as powerful.
I'm sure that's not true. Okay. I'm gonna start on time.
Within five.
Okay.
Very flexible.
All right.
Yay. What's that? Yeah, you got it. No, but set up and make yourself at home back there. This is your backstage.
Yai da 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 yai da da yai da. Yai da da yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da da.
Good morning and good Sabbath. Wonderful to have so many folks here from so many places. Those who may be new to this type of tradition, you are welcome to follow along in the smaller of the two books at whatever pace you like. If you're on a different page than the person up here, you're doing it right. To take note, we'll be singing mostly in the original Hebrew, which is on the right hand of each page. On the left, you will find English translation, and below the line, you will find commentaries and meditations, and any of it that speaks to you, that is the goal. Whatever arises that speaks to you. Aaron will be playing roles at intervals throughout. The first hour is mostly traditional and mostly out of this book, and then we will transfer to this one. So enjoy, participate as fully as you feel comfortable, and dip into the riches of one particular tradition. Page 141. 141.
We start with the morning blessings. The first one, Matovu, just says how wonderful it is to be here. Matovu ohalecha, ohalecha Yaakov. Matovu ohalecha, ohalecha Yaakov. Mishkeno Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Matovu ohalecha, ohalecha Yaakov. Matovu ohalecha, ohalecha Yaakov. Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Mishkenotecha Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. V'ani b'rochastecha b'ovetecha, ishtachavel lechol kodshecha b'yiratecha. Adonai ahavti me'on betecha, u'mekom mishkan kivodecha. ואני אשתחווה אחריך לפני אדוני הוסיף, ואני תפילתי לך אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת ישעך.
Page 151 and following, we start with the ethical precept at the center. And in the version that I will be offering, alternate images of God as both female and male, because God, of course, is beyond all human description. 151. לשמיכו קודשא בריך הוא שכנתי, הנני מוכן ומזומן לקבל עליי מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך, ובזכות זה הבטחתי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו חי עולמים, המעביר שינה מעיני ותנומה מעפעפי. 155. For each one, think about what you are grateful for as well. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim hanotenet l'sech vivina lavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim roka haaretz al hamayim. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim pokachat ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim malbish arumim. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim matira asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim zokef kefufim. 159. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim hamichpenam yitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim she'asa li kol tzorki. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim ozeret Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim oter Yisrael betifara. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim she'astani b'tzalma. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim she'asani ben horin. Brucha ad ya Eloheinu cheolamim she'astani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim hanoten le'ya'if kohan.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yitzchak. Baruch atah Adonai rofech ol basar umachli la'asot. Page 165. Elohai neshama shenata bi tehorai. Elohai neshama shenata bi tehorai. Elohai neshama shenata bi tehorai. Elohai neshama שנתת בי טהוראי, אתה ונתת יצאת נבחת בי, ואתה משמרה בקרבי, ונתתי לתנה ממני לחיי עולם. כל זמן שהנשמת בקרבי מודעני לפניך. אדוני אלוהי 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 אלוהי, ריבון כל מעשים, אדון כל הנשמות, ברוך אתה אדוני, אשר בידו נפש כל חי, ורוח כל בשר. Page 177. As we enter into the songs, verses of praise, the Pesukei de Zimra. Baruch Shemar Vayaolam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Omer V'Oseh, Baruch Hu, Baruch Kozer Mekayem, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Hu, Baruch Merachem al habriot, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tov L'Re'av, Baruch Hu, Baruch Mavir Afel Mevi Hora, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Chai La'ad Kayam Lenetzach, Baruch Hu, Baruch Podei Matzir, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Page 187, last line, Psalm 19. Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi, Lehiyu leratzon imrei fi, Vehigyon libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri vegoali, Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi, יהיו לרצון אמרי והגיון ליבי לבנך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Psalm 136, page 201. Ya la la ya la ya la la ki leolam rasdo ya la ya la ya la ki leolam rasdo odu ladonai ki to ki leolam rasdo odu le ya Elohim ki leolam chasto odu ladonai adonim ki leolam chasto leose niflaot gedolot levado ki leolam chasto ya la ki leolam chasto ya la ki leolam chasto leose hashamayim bitvuna ki leolam chasto lerokei haaretz al hamayim ki leolam chasto leose orim gedolim ki leolam chasto et hashemesh v'memshelet bayom ki leolam chasto yela ki leolam chasto yela ki leolam chasto et hayerech v'kochavim v'memshelot b'layla ki leolam chasto shebshif leinu sachalanu ki leolam chasto v'yivrekenu mitzarenu ki leolam chasto notein lechem lechol basar ki leolam chasto ya ki leolam chasto ya ki leolam chasto hodu la'el hashamayim ki leolam chasto hodu la'el hashamayim ki leolam chasto ya la ki leolam chasto ya la ki leolam chasto. Page 231, Psalm 150. Kol haneshama tehalel ya, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehalel ya, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol ha-neshama tehalel ya, hallelujah. Kol ha-neshama tehalel ya, Hallelujah. Bottom of page 231. Baruch Adonai le'olam amen ve'amen. Baruch Adonai mitzion shechein Yerushalayim. Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael. Excuse me. Oseh niflaot levado. Ubaruch Shem kvodo le'olam. Ulimei kvodo et kol haaretz. Amen ve'amen. Page 235. The water break. Nishmat kol chai, Yivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. En lanu melech elei ata. Elohei harishonim ve'aronim, Melech hakol briot Adonai. גם מתיר אסורים והשמח נופלים, זה סוקף כבופים לך, אנחנו מודים. אלוהינו מלא שיר הפיהו. אלף אלפי אלפים ולבב לבבות פעמים הטובות. אנו עמנו. מצרים גלתה. על כל הדברים שבילת בנו לחקור. מי מלך ומי שפלך ומי ירוך לך האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ. Page 241. הלך נשבחך ונפרך וברך את שם קודשך כמו לדוד בכי נפשי את אדוני בכל קרבה את שם קודשו היה בתעצומות עוזך גדול בכבוד שמך הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורתך המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא שוכנה מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רדיד הצדיקים בלמות לישרים נא בתהילה בפי שערים תתרומם ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתקדש ובקרב קדושים תתהלל ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. להודות להלל שבח לפאר רומם להדר לברך להלל וכלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משחררך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. קדושה ומלכות ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול ותשבחות אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלכי העולמים. Page 245. The bridge into the Baruch Hu. יקדל ויקדש מרבה, וילמד ורכירותי וימלך מלכותי בחייכו ובחיי כל בית ישראל, ויגלהו בזמן קריב, וימרו אמן, אמן. יש מרבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמי, יברך ישתבח יפר ויתרומם, יתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשם בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמא, ואמרו אמן, amen. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able. Page 247. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. Please be seated. Page 253. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גדלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו, המתגלה אחריות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות מישהו לפני חיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם, בדעת בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נזירם בכל עושים בבואם, עושים בהם הרצון קונה, באר וכבוד נותנים לשמו זוהלה, ורינם לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אורה, והתקיל צורת הלבנה, של בוא איתו. באופנים סרפים, באופנים בחיות הקודש, יאללה 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 יאללה. Page 269. ברוך נמות ייתנו מלך החי וקיים, זמרות לא מהירו ותשבחות ישמיעו, כי הוא לבדו מרום וקדוש, ואל גבורות עושה חדשות. זורע צעקות, מצמיח ישועות, בורא רפואות, נורא תהי עילות אדון הנפלאות. המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית כאמור, לעושה אורים גדולים, כי לעולם חסדו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכר כולנו במהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאור.
Page 275. This prayer is about to lead us into the affirmation of unity, that God in essence is one, and we created in God's image, therefore, must also be one. The introduction is about God expressing love through giving us Torah. And this is expressed best in the Jewish principle of Torah lishma, learning for its own sake. And I had occasion this week, as maybe a few others of us did, to reflect on the value of Torah lishma, because our lectionary, our Torah reading cycle goes just week to week, a few chapters of Torah at a time. But there's a disagreement between Israel, along with the liberal diaspora community, and the observant diaspora community, because some of us believe last Saturday was still a festival day, which has a different Torah reading. Anyway, Jews, we can't agree on anything. So the question is, which Torah portion is it? I'm happy to settle and say that Aaron prepared the right one today for us. But if you look in the Washington Jewish Week, or you get emails with cool interpretations of the weekly Parsha, alas, most of the stateside ones, even fairly liberal ones, we're still reading last week. So as a pulpit rabbi, I'm used to reading these with an eye toward their utility. Oh, that might be interesting for this week. As opposed to, oh, let me tuck that away, like I'm going to remember 51 weeks from now. So the opportunity in these weeks, when you get an email or read something in the Jewish Week about the Torah portion that you know you've already read, we're on to the next thing, a blessing. Torah lishma, Torah for its own sake. Enjoy. There's some good Torah out there. Page 275, the joy of this enlightenment from our spiritual traditions, leading us again into the affirmation of the unity of all. V'ha'erninu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yached levavenu v'yahava ulira et shemecha v'lo nevosh v'lo nikale v'lo nikashem לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. Inviting Aaron up for the first of his many appearances. והביאנו לשלום ארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. 277. Hey.
My Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך בשעריך.
Continue for a moment on the next few pages. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem le'emet. Page 291.
After this song of freedom and redemption, we'll stand for 7 stanzas of our main body of prayer. The first 3 we do out loud together with a little calisthenics in the middle, and then we continue on our own with whatever arises in our hearts and our souls. Page 291.
Ilot l'elyon baruch u'mvorach Moshe Miriam u'bnei Yisrael nechanu shira B'simcha rabba v'amru chulam B'simcha rabba v'amru chulam Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele. שיר החדש שבחו גאולים לשמחה על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו והמהרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל Kuma be'etzrat Yisrael, uvdechinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, Golei Adonai tzva'ot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Israel. Page 295. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imot, מביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, רב להושיע, מוריד הטעם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה כל חי ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומזו מלך נביא ומחיה מצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות כל חי, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי כל חי. Page 303. מקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מערוב. ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לאומת צרפים, לאומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני במקום. במקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לה. מתי, מתי תמלוך בציון? מתי, מתי תמלוך בציון? מתי, מתי תמלוך בציון? מתי, מתי תמלוך בציון? בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלימך, לדור ודור לנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר העם בשירי ועינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי מוצאך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, God נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Continuing on our own 306 through 323. Ooh, we got this.
I'm good at.
Beautiful. You're good at all of this, as will become readily apparent. Awesome. Speaking of, after so many gifts already and many more to come, he'll put the violin away, but be joined by Ram and Carrie in the transition now from the main body of morning prayer, the Shacharit service, into the Torah service. Before he receives his talit and becomes official, we get to hear words of blessing from these remarkable parents. We're speaking it all the way here and leaning in so that the mic is okay.
Shema b'nei Musar Avicha, v'al titosh Torat imecha. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Morasha kehilat Yaakov. Listen, my child, to the ethical instruction of your father, and do not turn away from the Torah of your mother. The Torah commanded to us by Moses. It's an inheritance for the community of Jacob. Aharon, Arun, you reflect the best of both worlds. Continue to shine. And as your grandpa would say, follow your star.
Hey. So it gives me a great pride and joy to see this boy Aaron grow from a small, beautiful boy who had difficulty learning about just the simple art of taking a nap to to somebody whose appetite for learning to do new things seems endless. And his love for music, his sounds of all the different tunes that I've never heard before. They fill our house in a blissful melody of sounds, and that's really great. His love for science, history, and various other subjects has introduced even us to new things. Sometimes pretty mundane, but sometimes very, very fascinating. So it is my hope that you continue your thirst for knowledge and harness its power to continue bringing joy to yourself and those around you.
Did you put this on? Yeah, okay. Good. Right. Kind of present the-
Sure, that's right.
The prayer shawl is meant to kind of enwrap us with a warm feeling of holiness, connection, of course, to tradition and ancestors, but connection to those who hand it to us. And so every time that you put this talit on, you will be reminded of this moment and this incredible assemblage of folks. Amen. Wonderful. Heather and Jocelyn, if you would please join us as we prepare to bring the Torah through the community. Nice. Oh, gorgeous cliffs.
Thank you, Uncle
Nice.
Steve. Uncle Steve.
I need those. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. We are on page 383, and Aaron, we still need you. You're ready. And come on. All right.
Ein kmocha v'kim Adonai ve'ein k'masecha malchutecha malchut kol amim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai melech Adonai yimloch le'olam Adonai Osramo Yitain Adonai Yivarech Etzamo V'Shalom Avrasami Eitiva V'Tzon Etzion Tivne Yerushalayim Tiderchomot Yerushalayim Ivechom Batachnu Melech Melcham V'Nisa Hadon Olami.
Next page, 385.
Vayivin so Aaron vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai v'yafutzu oivecha v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzeh Torah ki mitzion tetzeh Torah Udva
Adonai, Yerushalayim. Baruch Natan Torah, Torah. Baruch Natan Torah, Torah. Ve'Amo Yisrael, B'Kedushato. Harmonizing, harmonizing, yay.
We tried. Yeah, right on. Right. Well, I'm gonna stand by Aaron. You ready? 393. Right? Yes. So as Aaron symbolically and physically receives the Torah, he will lead us in the Shema, and we respond on page 393. You want both hands near the bottom. Weight on your shoulder. Looks good. Feels good. You got this.
Those worst when I curse.
You're on it.
All right,
390.
right,
We respond.
right. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh. Face the ark and really loud God. Romema Shemo Yada with us.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Veishtachavu Ve'adon Raglam Kadoshu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Veishtachavu Echad Kodsho, Gikadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Yisrael ve'oraita tochabrihu tadhu. Yisrael ve'oraita kudshambrihu tadhu. Torah Torah hallelujah. Torah
Yeah, la 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 la. Sexually heavy. Right, we may be seated. Okay, you too. Get to take a break. Thank you. All right. Shabbat Shalom. 40 years ago, 40 years wandering in the wilderness, 40 years ago, this very date on the Hebrew calendar, Parshat Baha'alotcha, in a suburb of Toledo, Ohio, a kid was given cassette tapes and told to memorize some sounds that he would not understand what they mean, and was given index cards with some boilerplate, how great tradition is, passages with no opportunity to add his own voice. It's a miracle that people like that ever decided to stick with the Jewish learning enterprise. Luckily, this particular kid I'm talking about was oddly into it enough to persevere. And what do you know? So yes, it was me, in case you didn't figure this out. And I am thrilled that the torch is now passed to a new generation of people who want to understand, who want this to be meaningful. I had no idea that I could dig into it and have fun with it and learn about it and teach about it the way that Aaron will. I had no idea in Parshat Baha'alotcha, which starts with Numbers chapter 8 and goes through chapter 12, no idea about Miriam and Aaron and racism and gossip. I had no idea about two who would go on to be my all-time heroes, Eldad and Medad. They're in this week's Torah portion. Two who won't stop prophesying, such that Moses says, would that all our people were prophets. And the episode before that, when the carnivores among the children of Israel start to kvetch that they can't eat meat, and a massive plague comes out, and 12,000 killers of animals die. I love that. This is amazing what's in our tradition. No clue 40 years ago. Didn't even know about the upside down nuns. In the middle of this book, there's what tradition calls its own book of Torah that's only 2 verses long, and we are reading it. The Vayafutzu Ovecha, that whole piece was actually from this week's Torah portion. Had no idea about the mythic power of the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire, all this week. So you should enjoy it. You should leaf through the book, which in our case is starting on, if you have the new edition of the Plaut Chumash, that has of the blue books, we're switching to blue for the next while. If you have a graphic on the cover, then we are on page 952. If it just says the Torah on the cover with no graphic, then we are on 1075. So I referenced the mythic power of the cloud. We're going to hear that later in our second Devar Torah. Cheryl and I are tag teaming now. There's actually 3 Divrei Torah today, and only one of them is the main Devar Torah that really develops a point and then opens up to ask a question of the community and then wraps up in a way that people with experience do. And of course, that will be Aaron's Devar Torah a little bit later. I wanted to just bring our attention to the opening, the part that we're reading at the beginning of our reading. Cheryl will amplify a beautiful verse in the middle and this larger concept of what it means to live in the presence of God and to live in this world. And then Aaron is going to bring it home with the story amplifying what we will read about when Miriam is stricken with leprosy and Aaron, after they speak ill of their sister-in-law, and what we can learn from that as well. God spoke to Moses saying, Daber el Aharon, speak to Aaron, va'amarta elav, say to him, Baha'alotcha et hanerot, in your lifting up, your kindling of the candles, of the individual flames, el mul pnei ha-menorah, facing opposite the face of the menorah, the candelabra, ya'iru shivat hanerot, 7 of these flames shall shine forth. 7 flames shall shine forth. Another thing that in 1983, outside Toledo, Ohio, we had no clue about was the riches of a piece of tradition that bids us to focus on the ethics. The tradition called Musar, the very word that Carrie found so poignant that it was part of this blessing. Right? Musar avicha, the ethical instruction of your father. That's biblical language. And even though the Musar movement, as we often think about it, only comes in the 19th century, the antecedents are there, including the 16th century Italian Renaissance commentator named Sforno, Ovadia Sforno, who comments, all 7 lamps will shine. Why do we need that extra phrase at the end of verse 2? Sforno writes, all 7 lamps will fulfill their function of illuminating and being the conduits of spiritual light descending onto the Jewish people. In other words, any of them will do. They don't need to be arranged. These are holy lights. So what's the point of the careful arrangement of 3 on the left and 3 on the right? And Sforno, 500 years ago, writes, there's actually an allegorical lesson, a Musar lesson, conveyed by the lights of the menorah, which is that only by the right side, the 3 candles on the right that are representing the preoccupation with eternal values, life in the future, working with the 3 lights on the left that represent a focus on this world. We need them both. Shehu ha'ikar, this is the essence. Hamiyaminim ha'oskim b'chaye olam, the ones on the right that are engaged in the life of the universe, the ha'oskim v'hamismolaim, and the ones on the left, ha'oskim b'chaye sha'ah, engaged on the left with the needs of the moment, physical. Spiritual and physical, we need both. And the Hebrew goes on to note that, of course, the spiritual is the more important in a religious context, but don't minimize the physical. You need the physical to get to the spiritual. I wish I knew this stuff when I was 13. 53 maybe isn't too late. But whatever age we are, we all have the opportunity to delve, to find those pieces of tradition that speak to us, to figure out our relationship with them, to come up with our own heroes, maybe Eldad and Medad, maybe God for striking down the carnivores. You get to pick. So much to pick from. The blessing is to be present for all of it and acknowledge that it's yours. Yet one more tidbit right before we pick up near the end with the story about Miriam and Aaron and Moses's sister-in-law is the Moses's wife, Aaron and Miriam's sister-in-law, is this wonderful passage that says Moses was an exceedingly humble man. The proof text for a whole Musar system of focus on that word anava, humility. And humility means taking up only the right amount of space and ceding it when something really great comes along. And something really great came along when I asked Cheryl in preparing this week how her recent trip was. And she responded with a little writing that she threw together for a dozen friends, and it was too good not to share. So Devar Torah number 2, the cloud.
And at such times that the cloud stayed from evening until morning, they broke camp as soon as the cloud lifted in the morning. Day or night, whenever the cloud lifted, they would break camp. Whether it was 2 days or a month or a year, however long the cloud lingered over the tabernacle, the Israelites remained encamped and did not set out. Only when it lifted did they break camp. Thoughts on the Torah after spending time in an animal rescue sanctuary in Thailand. What time will we be back? It depends on the elephants. However long the cloud lingered over the tabernacle, that is how long we stayed. Time was not measured in increments. Divisions of a whole were not reduced into equal parts, ticked off one by one. Time was measured in clouds. When the mist parted, when we could see to the horizon, we knew it was time to move, to rearrange ourselves. When the mist settled itself again, we did the same. What time will we be back? It depends on the elephants. I've never measured time in elephants before, never given over my agenda to such a magnificent itinerant. It depends on the elephants. It depends on something greater than myself to decide when I will travel from the place I am to new ground. What do I do with my impatience? I must have a plan. If I am not in charge of the timetable of my time here on this earth, then what will become of my ambitions? What will happen to my best laid plans? It depends on the elephants. These glorious beings that do not leave their brothers and sisters behind, I was permitted to walk by their side, feed them entire bunches of unpeeled bananas. Are they ever able to sense the sweetness of the fruit that they devour? It takes a lot of bowed yellow bounty to replace 10% of their body weight every day of their lives. Being out of human time is being in real time. Is lunch at noon, or is it when we are hungry? Is the time for change when we decide, or is it when time changes us? They take care of their herd and mourn their dead. Elephants have been found to feel joy, grief, anger, rachamam, compassion, and ahava, love. When one elephant is injured, the rest of the herd may stay with the injured one, waiting for them to be ready to go on. And when Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, her body afflicted, people did not march on until Miriam was readmitted. Our herd stayed with Miriam until she could move on. We can learn to be better, to look after one another instead of racing toward the horizon. When will we move on? Depends on the elephants.
Shabbat Shalom. Inviting Ken, our Gabbai, forward. I believe we have contra to the sheet for Aliot with Clint Wolcott coming up first. So shift each one down one as we go.
ויעזור ויגן וישלח לחסים בו ונאמר אמן. הכל הגודל לכן נתנו כבוד לתורה יעמוד מברכת לעלייה הראשונה. ברוך שנתן תורה לעם ישראל בקדושתו.
ואתם מדביקים לנו לכם חיים כולכם היום.
Our first reading, Numbers chapter 8, verse 1, can be found in the Chumash, the Blue Book, The new version is page 952 and the old version 1075.
Baruch et Adonai Habarah, Baruch Adonai Habarah Leolam Bayed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kirvanu levado to, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el Aharon v'amarta alav b'halotecha et hanerot el mul pnei hamenorah yairu shivad hanerot. Vayas ken Aharon el mul pnei hamenorah ela nerotea kasher tziva Adonai et Moshe v'zeh maaseh hamenorah miksha zahav ad yercha ad pircha miksha hi. Tamar Asher Adonai et Moshe ken asa et hamenorah.
Baruch Adonai Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam natan b'torhenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So, Clint, nice shirt. Why did you pick that today?
It's Wear Orange Weekend.
Tell us more, Clint.
So this is Wear Orange Weekend is a weekend when organizations have gun violence prevention events all around the country. I put some links to those in the list on the listserv. And Wear Orange Weekend comes from the vigil for a teenager named Hadia Pendleton, who was killed 10 years ago, and her friends on her birthday, June 2, 10 years ago, had a vigil, and they asked everyone to wear orange because orange is the color that hunters wear so they don't get shot in the woods. And that's where Orange Weekend comes from. And as folks in the congregation know, I've been working on gun violence prevention issues for Adat Shalom with a group called the Critical Issues Forum. And this year we had a very successful year of lobbying in the legislature to strengthen the laws here in Maryland. But I hope you all know that given the current status of the world and the Supreme Court, changing the laws is not going to solve the problem. And we'll be lots more to work on doing what we can to, particularly to end gun violence in distressed communities in our big cities, which is where most of the gun murders, the 110 gun murders, gun deaths every day in this country take place, but also to develop a culture of gun safety among gun owners for storing guns and keeping them out of the hands of children. So thank you for having me up.
Thank you. So thanks to Clint and others, Maryland is in good shape. DC also, though again, the federal threat looms large, especially for DC, where micromanagement. Virginia is a whole other story. And thanks to Steve Brody, who happens to be with us today, that is being worked on with alacrity as well. This is a commitment of our congregation and hopefully of all people of faith and conscience. Thank you for your leadership. Yes. Hi.
תעמוד, היה בתורה על העלייה השנייה.
We continue with verse 5 on the same pages.
Chapter 8, verse 5, still on 952 or 1075.
Hold on there.
Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamavarach,
Baruch
Baruch Adonai Hamarav Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher קרבנו לעבודתו ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, קח את הלוויים מתוך בני ישראל, ותיארת אותם, וכה תעשה להם לטהרם, הזה עליהם מחטאת, והעבירו טהר על כל בשרם, וחיפשו בגדיהם והיטהרו, ולקח ולקחו פר בן בקר ומנחתו, סולת פלולה ושמן, ופר שני בן בקר תיקח לחטאת, והקרבת את הלוויים לפני אוהל מועד, והקלת את כל עדת בני ישראל.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
So we realized that Ayu had actually found an Adat Shalom Simcha years before Carrie and Ram did, not her first rodeo. So awesome. Good to have you back. Thanks. Yes. Okay. We are fast forwarding now to the end of the parasha in chapter 12.
We are not.
One more before we go to the next here.
No, but there's the third one is actually,
It's consecutive. It's the next one.
oh, that wasn't what was in. Okay.
What are you reading? Okay.
Yeah. It's the next.
Okay, that's not what was on the Torah readings, because we were, all right.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. We were going to read out loud the famous passage El Na Rafan Allah as a lead into the Mishaberach, but it's all good. So we were here. Sorry.
So.
Okay, and so we are on chapter 8, verse 10, the next consecutive verse. In the old cloud, page 1076, and in the new cloud, 953.
If you have the handout, this is correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot that looks the same here. I don't want to sit there. It's right in the wrong place.
It's a little higher.
You think?
Yeah.
This was the beginning of 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this one is right. Okay.
Okay. Yamdu. Sarah Malka Bad Bunka Binyamin Viram Prasad Subedi Aliyah Hashlishit. Right.
Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
On this side. Oh, I think we'll get you suited up.
Here.
Finally shine.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher karvanu la'avotato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. והקרבתם את הנביאים לפני אדוני, ושמחו בני ישראל את ידיהם על הנביאים, והניף אהרון את הנביאים תנופה לפני אדוני מאת בני ישראל, והיו לעבוד את עבודת אדוני, והנביאים יסמכו את ידיהם על ראש הפרים, ועשה את אחד חטאת, ואת אחד עונן אדוני לכפר על הנביאים, והמרת את הנביאים לפני אהרון ולפני בניו, והנפת אותם תנופה לאדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And right. So Yasher Koach and enjoy, and there's going to be a short double break before Aaron. So, okay. So if you would now fast forward before the Mishaberach Lecholim to page 966 or 1100, we're going to sneak in the extra aliyah because we wanted this context for Aaron's own Devar Torah, as well as for the blessing for healing that is coming up. We are picking up in the middle of the story where Aaron and Miriam are schmoozing, and they are noting that there's something up with Moses's wife and singling out the fact that she is from the land of Cush, which roughly translates as the mid-Nile region of southern Egypt or northern Ethiopia, which is to say she is of African descent. And something somewhere in there leads to the episode that's coming up. When our old friend and no stranger to this community, Sabrina Sojourner, who is an almost rabbi in many contexts in our larger community, and a dear friend and a recidivist here, and is leaving town, wanted the opportunity for one more chance on the bima, and it works perfectly now. So Ta'amod Kimat Harav, Shira Yavila Bat Deborah Yisrael, La'aliyah Revi'it. So page 966 or 1100. If you would do the bracha and then follow along, I'm going to chant. We are at Numbers chapter 12, verse 10. And it is, wait, we're ending at Paran, so it's the Anan. The Anan, I'm somewhere in here. Okay. Surah Kashalak, here we go. Okay. Yeah, right there.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Le'olam
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher karavanu le'avotanu ulevodato ve'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Actually follow along
Mhm.
as I go.
Oh, yeah.
This is gonna be chanting out again.
Okay.
I had prepared this part way. Ve'anan sar me'al ha'ohel v'hine Miriam mitzorat kashaleg, and here was Miriam afflicted like snow. Vayifen Aharon el Miriam v'hine mitzorat. Vayomer Aharon el Moshe Bi Adonihi al na tashet alenu chatat asher no alnu va'asher chatanu al na tihi kamet asher betzeto merechem imoho vayeachel chatzi b'saro vayitzak Moshe, and Moses cried out El Adonai Lemor, to the Holy One, saying, El na God, please now heal her now, refine now.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So as we wish Sabrina many years and decades of health and happiness, following kids and grands and leaving the DMV, but coming back often.
Yes.
And amazing collaborations in the shared progressive Jewish world that we inhabit together. Lechi l'shalom.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that gave us the opportunity to see these words in situ, El na refana la. They're the very words above where Aaron will pick up in a moment with his maftir reading. So El na refana la, you heard it translated as please and now, because the repeated word na can actually mean both. And this is the simplest of healing prayers. And we often use it at this moment. So I'd like to invite us now to hold a mental image of the people that we would wish healing for in our lives. Those with physical or spiritual or emotional challenge. And if you would like to be the agent of a blessing of healing for another or for yourself, invite us to rise. And all together, we say the many names of those we lift up for healing. Arthur Silver, Jan Maxwell, Joel Brennan, Hannah Bat, Nina, and so many. El na refana la, El na refana la, El na refana la, refua shlema. El na refana la, El na refana lo, El na refana la, refua shlema. Refuat nefesh, refuat haguf, renewal of body and renewal of spirit. Venomahar, amen. And we're going to invite now Carrie and Ram back up as the as their son is called with fanfare by his tutor and our collective amazing Pam Summers.
Yamod, Yamod, Habachor Bach HaMitzvah, Acharon Binyamin ben Sarah Malka Virham, Maftir Chasak.
Picking up right where we left off at verse 14.
Page 966 in the new clout or 1100 in the old.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kavanu la'avodato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, V'yavicha yarok yarak bifanecha, alo tikalem shivat yamim, tisager shivat yamim, michutz lamanech v'yachar te'aser, ותיסגר מרים מחוץ למענך 7 ימים, וכעם לא נסע עד היאסף מרים, יחר נסו העם מהצרות, ויחנו במדבר. Last word.
Yes.
So.
We were.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chaye olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Right, we prepare to lift and dress the Torah and continue with Aaron's teachings.
Ya'amor, Michael Shaw HaMagbiya v'yamor, Stephen Shaw HaGolel. As you are able, please rise when the Torah is lifted.
Yeah, well, I will, yes. But I remember, yeah, but you more. Excellent. Because, I don't know. Yeah. I got it. Morasha Kehilat Yaakov, Morasha Kehilat Yaakov, Morasha Kehilat Yaakov, Torah Tziva Lanu, Morasha. Go right to the mics.
Right here.
Yes, yes. Okay, we may be seated and thank you. The Haftarah is a prophetic reading that is appended to each Torah portion Page 974, if you have a graphic on the front, or 1259 in the old edition, 1259 or 974. The Haftarah for Baha'alotcha is actually repeated twice each year. It's also the Haftarah at Hanukkah, because the part that we're not getting to is includes the famous not by might and not by power, but by my spirit. The opening is equally remarkable with this clarion call to the returned from exile community to pick up the pace and keep the faith that rebuilding is actually possible after destruction. That is the larger theme, and thus the timeless opening, Roni v'simchi, sing out and be glad, daughter of Zion. Ki hineni va, for I, says the Holy One, am here. 974 or 1259. Take it away.
The before blessing, right?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'yatza v'divreihem הנאמרים באמת, ברוך אתה, אדוני, הבוחר בתורה ובמשה עבדו, ונביאי האמת בצדק. אמן. ואני בשמחי בת ציון, כי ניבא, ושכנתי בתוכך נאום אדוני, ונרבו גויים רבים לאדוני ביום ההוא, וחיו לי לעם, ושכנתי בתוכך, וידעת כי אדוני צבאות שלחני אלייך, ויחל אדוני את יהודה חלקו על אדמת הקודש, ובחר עוד בירושלים, חס כל בשר מפני אדוני, כי הנה אור ממעון קודשו, ויראני את יחשוע הכהן הגדול, עומד לפני מלאך אדוני, והשטן עומד על ימינו לשטנו, ויאמר אדוני על השטן, יגע אדוני בך השטן, יגע אדוני בך, הבוחר בירושלים, הלא זה ודמות צר מאש. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל. אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפיך חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו
מקדש השבת.
Yesh koach. So having so beautifully chanted the words of others and of tradition, we now turn to Aaron's own Devar Torah in a big booming voice, because the microphones are not picking up a lot today. So
Okay.
loud, with feeling.
On Fiocco with fire.
Right on, exactly. Some remarkable musings on Torah, and get ready to add your own input to Aaron's Devar Torah.
Shalom. As you already know, this week's Torah portion is Parshat Beha'alotecha, which is, I admit, quite a mouthful to say. The number of syllables in the name is quite an accurate representation of the number of events in the Parsha, however. You see, the ancient Israelis didn't know what they were doing when they named their Parshiot. This Parsha is, as I like to say, that I have a bunch of stuff, but I don't know where to put all of it, of the Parshiot. It starts off with menorah lighting and a town hall tent being constructed. It continues with kvetching and quail meat emerging from Israelites' nostrils, and ends with Moses' own siblings trash-talking his interracial marriage and his sister getting leprosy as a result. What we'll be focusing today is aforementioned marriage trash-talking and the leprosy. So the story goes that as the Israelites are wandering around the desert after leaving Egypt, Moses' siblings, Aaron and Miriam, started talking behind his back, as I believe any good sibling should. Though what was not exactly good about this talking behind his back was that they were questioning Moses' marriage to this woman who they specifically know is from the Cushite tribe, from Africa, as Rabbi Fred said earlier. So this then led to Aaron and Miriam complaining that God did not let them have enough input and that Moses got too much attention. God, as you might expect, was not too happy about this connection. God scolded Miriam and Aaron for questioning divine judgment, and to add insult to injury, or rather injury to insult, afflicted Miriam with leprosy, and she was forced to be quarantined for 7 days. As you may have noticed, aside from being scolded, nothing really ever happened to Aaron. It was not like Miriam said more bad stuff than Aaron. The Torah literally states, they said. So I guess Aaron just lucked out and God forgot about him. However, you're probably aware that the Torah is never that straightforward. Hence the fact that Devar Torah is a thing. And just like literally everything else in Judaism, there are multiple interpretations of why Aaron appears not to have been punished. One interpretation, which can be found in the Babylonian Talmud, is by Rabbi Akiva, who lived in the late 1st, early 2nd century CE. He said that since the Torah states that God was angry at both Aaron and Miriam, they both got leprosy, because it is plausible, because the Torah tends to be quite vague, as I said earlier. So whoever wrote it could just decide not to explicitly say that Aaron was punished, but you could say that this explanation is quite far-fetched as well. After I found out Rabbi Akiva's interpretation, I then went to our own modern Chumash, and under the heading, in the commentary for this parsha, under the heading, How Aaron Was Punished, I found this incredibly long quote, but also very helpful quote. So buckle your seatbelts, here we go. At first reading of the story, it appears that Miriam is punished and Aaron is not, though clearly Aaron is a co-offender. In fact, his offense is more serious, for he is the high priest and second only to Moses. In the biblical scheme, punishment could not bypass the chief offender. Therefore, we should expect that Aaron not only be disciplined, but disciplined more severely than Miriam. This is precisely what the story conveys. While Miriam is punished corporally, Aaron is punished mentally. In this case, his mental suffering is far more intense than its physical counterpart. Aaron doubtlessly undergoes great anguish, not only because of the divine rebuke, in the eyes of the Torah, a severe chastisement itself, but also suffers keenly from guilt, keenly from guilt when he sees his sister disfigured hideously, while he who had committed the very same offense apparently is let off free. The hurt of seeing a dear one suffer is often far greater than one's own physical agony. But the worst punishment is yet to come. Aaron has pretended to be the equal of his younger brother and now has to humble himself utterly. "Oh, my Lord," he says to Moses, and then begs his forgiveness and asks him to intercede with God. Humiliation is added to mental suffering and guilt. Miriam's illness is a warning to the people at large that slander and rebellion are evil, but the sight of Aaron, the high priest, bowing down before Moses and begging his pardon is a warning no less potent and surely more memorable. Long. So, according to this interpretation, Aaron is actually mentally punished in that he had to see his very own sister punished while he was let off free. And that Aaron was also humiliated in that he'd have to address Moses, his brother, as a superior, which is the last thing someone wants to do to their sibling. You could interpret now that we got those two interpretations aside, as I said before, this story, just like everything else in the Torah, is very ambiguous. You could interpret the ambiguity of the story as a hint that the original story was that Aaron was indeed punished, and that over time it got twisted, contorted, and concealed, and just lost. The question remains, however, why was Aaron's punishment hidden, twisted, whatever you want to say, anyway? He was the high priest of the Israelites, showing his punishment be a signal that no matter who you are, if you anger God, you are in big trouble. So now I would like to hear from you guys. What was Aaron punished despite the story not saying so? And do either his or Miriam's punishments fit their crimes? I think there's going to be some microphones passed around, and please be brave.
John.
Hi.
So I have the honor of being the mom of a boy who had the exact same Torah portion exactly a year ago.
I remember, I was there.
And so we spent a lot of time on this Torah portion about a year ago. And the thing that jumped out at me on this one is that it just reeks of racism and sexism. And much like many other things in the world, especially the ancient world, it is not hard for me to believe that there were people discussing the race and gender of their brother's wife, as well as the sister getting blamed for it, because that kind of was what it was at that time. And unfortunately, some of that still is what it is today. So that's sort of, I don't know if it was lost or not, but I think there's a valid reason to say why Miriam got the sort of short end of the stick.
I mean, that is very true. Throughout human history, there's been a lot of inequality and intolerance. So that could very well have been the case when this was made, right? Anyone else? All right. Sabrina, I believe it is. I don't remember your name, so.
Sabrina.
Sabrina, all right. Nice to meet you.
Mazel tov. I'm actually going to dispute the premise about it being about race, because race is a recent, in terms of human history, invention. And that Cush refers to the tribe of Cush, the people who came from there. And also there's a, I don't remember exactly where it is, but also in in Numbers, we have Yitro, the Moses's father-in-law, leaving. And there is another midrash that talks about how Moshe basically gave up sex and having that kind of intimacy with his wife. And so in this particular midrash, it talks about this Cush woman, which also Cush people throughout a lot of the writings from the ancient are talked about as being absolutely gorgeous people. And so he gets excited and starts being in relationship with this woman, which basically he's divorcing or taking on a second wife in terms of his first wife. And his father-in-law doesn't want to see any of this and leaves the camp because it's a very abrupt in terms of that particular portion of the Torah. So that it's not about race. She's being singled out by her tribe precisely because Moshe has forgotten about his wife, his first wife.
Right, so. Interesting, right. All right, okay, my brain is too slow to respond to this, sorry. You outdid me there, sorry. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
I did
you
not
are.
know any of that, so that was interesting to hear. I don't know a lot about. Sorry, I don't know a lot about any of this portion, but what I do know is that siblings do in fact like to talk behind people's backs as someone with siblings. And I mean, it's probably not particularly true, but taking it as a metaphor for sibling relationships, it's more than possible that they were just judging him because, I mean, jealousy could be a factor. Like, again, she's famous for her beauty. Her tribe is famous for their beauty. So Moses not only gets his first wife, but he gets this second really beautiful woman who he may potentially be breaking vows with. And I mean, Miriam and Aaron obviously have their own morals. Aaron's a high priest, and he might see this as, again, infidelity or just, how could he do this? He promised not to. And because of that, when he is talking with Miriam, behind his back, they both get punished. So I think it's rightful that they did get punished, and I think their punishment is all right to a certain extent, but at the same time, that's to be expected of siblings, and I think it might be a bit harsh when it really could have been settled over a conversation.
Cup of coffee, maybe?
Maybe a coffee, you know, maybe a nice cup of tea with nice little Victorian petticoats. I don't know. But
Fell to pieces when the cloud came overhead.
yeah, so I think Miriam's punishment might have been just a tiny bit over the top, but God is not really one for conversation throughout the Torah.
Yeah. Kind of like
so
Rabbi Fred killing meat eaters and
it's in character. It's in character. So in that case, yeah, I do think there might be more reasons behind it, as well as Aaron being a high priest, so you can't just punish him willy-nilly. Otherwise, it might send like a more cruel message of God. Not that God seems to have cared in the past. Thank you.
like God hasn't done that already.
Woo! Thank you.
So, yeah. So, not good at improvising. Okay.
Last comment.
Hi, my name is Bob. You know, one of the things I think about the Torah is that these were stories that people told to each other, and eventually they got written down. If you ask anyone in my family to tell the story of the strawberries, they know what I'm talking about. So I think this may be a story that was quite a bit longer and had a lot more details in it. But this is the part that was written down, and the people at the time who heard that story kind of knew more detail than actually is there. And since that's lost now, it's up to us to fill in the details that we think are pertinent to our time.
So when writing it, they're like, all right, we know the story. We don't need to write it all. And then now, 1,000 years later, we're like, huh? So, all right, last one. You said? All right. So thank you all for responding to my questions. And we'll probably never be able to answer these questions, but we can learn a thing or two from it. First of all, do not make Aaron and Miriam's mistake of singing out someone's race or ethnicity or tribe or whatever when it is irrelevant to the topic at hand. Or, as we said, it could have been relevant, but like, maybe they did deserve all that itchiness and humiliation to learn and to teach that lesson. Second of all, real good men and people in general do not let women take the blame for something they both did. Let today's Miriam insist on equality, and let today's Aaron's be a part of that effort too. And finally, do not gossip at all. Tradition makes a big deal about ethics of speech, which means avoiding Thanks, Rabbi Fred, for telling me about this. Lashon hara, the evil or gossiping tongue, with this story as being very good proof, quintessential proof, even. So if you ever get a bad rash with no known physical cause, figure out to whom you need to apologize and wait 7 days. Shabbat shalom.
But Yasher Koach.
Thank you.
Everyone on Zoom, I hope you were able to hear from here. The mics aren't at their best today, and not sure about the portable mics. There were 4 remarkable contributions from the floor that I hope you heard. If not, ask Aaron about it later.
Yeah, I have it written. I have basically my stuff written down here.
Right, but I think we can recreate. Thank you all. All right, you get to put this down, take a deep breath. I get to bless you,
All right, thank
and
you.
you are bar mitzvah.
Oh,
It's kind of cool.
yeah.
So first, I was going to bless, and now it's only a reiteration of what your parents have said, which is that you are the unique 1 + 1 equals more than 2, right? Which doesn't track mathematically, but
Oh, according to my friend, it does. He found a video proving it.
okay, look forward to hearing about it after. To bring together, or maybe 1 + 1 + 1 is greater than 3, to bring together your American Maryland middle school identity with your Nepali and with your Ashkenazi backgrounds, to be able to have different cultural frames of reference with which to view the world, different groundings of even turns of phrase from language or values, sacred texts, you are incredibly well positioned to bring extra depth and extra insight. You've already begun to do just that. Can't wait to see where that will take you. And when I asked you some time ago what this whole thing meant, I took down notes. You said, this is when you're old enough to start following all the Jewish stuff. Yeah. To get more philosophical. Yeah. Noting that lots of cultures have some kind of coming of age experience, to put this into that multicultural frame. Yeah. It's an experience to get you really immersed into the Jewish stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And above all, and I'm quoting, to be able to question, what the heck does this stuff mean? I want to bless you to keep questioning.
Yeah.
And
But
then
what does that mean?
Right on. And then to keep putting your initial answers out there, because it is a gift to all of us.
All right.
All of us are soon going to send symbolic sweet gifts your way.
I'll take them,
Candy
I'll take
is
them.
coming around. Anyone who questions the strength of their arm, feel free to come forward, because lately they've been mostly falling in the front. So kids especially come, better chance of hitting the target. Symbolically, we want this to be sweet for you as it is sweet for us to see you come of age.
And I'd also like to have the candy.
And absolutely. So as the candy continues to come around, I offer the blessing in the words of our tradition, and we may say, Ken yehi ratzon, so may it be after each. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ken yehi ratzon. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And now we say the blessing for reaching such a milestone. Get ready. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam shehechlianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Simin tovu, mazel tovu, simin tovu, mazel tovu, simin tovu. Simin tovu, mazel tov, simin tov, yehelanu, yehelanu. Yeah. The last ones. All right. All right, the heavy lifting is behind you. You can grab a seat. Actually, don't grab a seat. At the conclusion of the Torah service, we now invite Aaron's grandparents. So if Chitra Kala and Banu Bakhta would please join us, we are excited to welcome you as we return the Torah to the Ark. We are back in the smaller prayer book. Aaron, sorry. Oh yeah, grab the violin and then this. Yeah, forgot. We have one more sonata for the conclusion of our Torah service. We are on page 433. We rise as we are able. Stand here, one here, one here. Right. Okay. Yeah. Hallelujah. Aaron. Yeah. Hallelujah. Right. Shem. Are you ready for that one? Yeah. I'll join you. All right.
Yeah, hallelujah, Shem Adonai.
He's God. Odom aleres v'shamayim v'yarem kerem le'amo tiva le'chol kasida livnei Yisrael am kerobo. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Page 441. Uvnucho yo marshu baranevavor Israel kelakatov nazati lachem torati al ta'azo.
What are you getting?
It's Chaim Hini.
Playing it, aren't I?
You are. Where is it?
I have the music here.
Okay, bring it on.
Right. Thanks for the candy, by the way. I think this clip is gonna be more. I'll put it back on afterwards. It's kind of hard to.
Happy. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom.
All right. I'm gonna pack this up now. Well, 'cause I need it.
Thank you. Outer doors also. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, thank you. What an honor.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. In the home stretch of our morning together, Before our concluding prayers, we turn to the memory of those who are no longer with us. Thinking about that horrible train accident on the east coast of India this yesterday. And on this 10th anniversary of the murder from gun violence of the person in whose memory this became Wear Orange Day, thinking, as Steve often reminds us at this moment, of all those needlessly lost to preventable gun violence. In our own community, we are still in the period of Shloshim, remembering our remarkable member and Wendy Swire's beloved husband, Andy Swire, Zichrono Livracha. And as we think of those who passed away at this season in years past, we commemorate the yahrzeits of and remember Ed Nelson's father, Bernard, Alex Joel's father, Clark, Louis Corman's mother, Edzia, Nan Furman's mother, Marion Derac, Sue Dreesen's father, Michael Demby, Mark Klepau's grandfather, Aaron's father-in-law, Saul Friedman, Rana Popkin's grandfather, Abraham Goldman, Alan Joseph's father, Julian, Michelle Mellinger's aunt, Anne Mann, Claude Caxer's father, Felix, Sarah Sennett's father-in-law, Ted, Bob Barkin's father, Louis, Joanna Seiden's mother, Karen Siegel, and Phil Brunel's aunt, Ida Gorkin. Inviting all those who are commemorating a yahrzeit or in mourning, if you would rise, join as may be your custom, page 451, Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash me rabba, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehesh me rabba mevarach le'olam l'almeh almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit ale, v'yit halal, shmed kudsha, b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imru, amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya, v'chayin, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, all of their memories for a blessing. What a treat to share the davening and the teaching with Cheryl Hurwitz this morning. On page 445, we rise as we are able for the last major prayer of our morning.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gdula li'utzer reishit, shenatam lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam b'tofeinu, ve'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim ve'oser haaretz, u'moshav yikachal b'shamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo, begovei meromim, Hu Eloheinu Eino, Malkeinu besulato,
Kakatu betorato viadata hayom vashivota eleva ki Adonai Elohim bashamayim Letakin olam b'malchut shaddai. Page 449, the last few lines.
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ויאמר
We may be seated unless you are the board greeter. Mark? Awesome. Mark Klapow, delighted to have you with us.
Delighted to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Greetings on behalf of the board. Hearty welcome to Adat Shalom for our visitors and for all of our regulars. Mazel Tov, Aaron. Wonderful job, and congratulations to the whole family on your simcha, and wishing you a wonderful rest of the day of celebration into the future. We'll come back to that in a second. Lots happening in Adat Shalom, which I'm going to leave to your reading in the weekly email and the materials that have been passed around. We look forward to seeing you. A couple mitzvahs coming up. And over the summer as well, lots of activities for families in particular. Please join us after services for Oneg lunch right next door. And after Kiddush, I'll make our way there and look forward to welcoming you, getting to know you all better in person. I'm gonna invite Aaron back up. Oh, I forgot something, but you can come up. Thank you to all of those who made this morning's service so special, particularly Rabbi Fred and Cheryl Hurwitz. Aaron, well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations on behalf of the board. And we have a gift, which I'm going to let you hold and open later, but more important than that, your official Adat Shalom member name tag.
Wait, doesn't mean I have to pay?
I'll let you take that up with your parents. There you go. Mazel tov.
Right.
Great job.
Shalom.
All right. And you're also going to stay as Arati and Dinesh. Please join us for one final reading, drawn from the Talmud, but universal values and aspirations to Aaron and to all of his generation. A final blessing.
Wait, so that's you guys too?
Actually, all the kids are going to be invited up for the first bit of the bread and also to help pick up the candy. So if you want to come up now and be part of the blessing, Maria, feel free to join at the same time. All right. Here we go. All right. Okay, Vera, Jonah, you're welcome. Not insisting, but yeah, okay. Awesome. All right. A blessing.
A blessing. May your eyes sparkle with the light of Torah and your ears hear the music of its words.
May the space between each letters of the scrolls bring warmth and comfort to your soul.
May the syllables draw holiness from your heart And may this holiness be gentle and soothing to the world.
May your study be passionate and meanings bear more meanings until life itself arrays itself to you as a dazzling wedding feast.
And may your conversation, even of the commonplace, be a blessing to all who listen to your words and see the Torah glowing on your face, glowing on your face. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. We are on page 465 for Kiddush and Motzi, transitioning us to the lunch and the well-earned celebration for Aaron. 465, we rise as we're able. Vishamra, are you leaving? Or am I?
Why don't we put the box down?
Amra? Oh, I'm doing it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Beini uvein v'nei Yisrael Od hi le'olam Ki she'eshet yamim asa Adonai Et hashamayim ve'et haaretz u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. We'll say this together. Al ken berach Adonai et yom haShabbat vayikadshehu savri chaverai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hayam. Take a sip. Here we go. Yeah. Ready? We're gonna gather around, everyone, with a free hand, if you have one. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avo. Ma yafeh hayom Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Mazel tov! Shabbat shalom, everyone. On Zoom, feel free to schmooze amongst yourselves where there's no audio issues. Shabbat shalom.
Hello, Jen, are you there? Maybe not. Just wondering if anybody was there. Okay, goodbye.